Hello. I'm just inviting everyone.
Hi.
Hi. Oh. I'm muting people. Hold on. Why are you not unmuting? Don't worry, I had it okay.
Got it.
You could join me. And I'm missing someone. No, I have everyone. Okay. There we go. I should have everyone. Aha. That's unmute. You got to unmute, dear.
Got it.
Okay. There we go. We made it. How is everyone tonight?
Good. Great.
The way the show works is I will let you read the back of your blurb on your book. I give you that opportunity, and then I will go through and ask a series of questions. And it's like a round table where I want every total engagement. So if you want to address another author, that's wonderful. Okay. And trust me, my feelings will not be hurt. It's all for the greater good, so that we have readers and followers that can learn from your experience. And that's what we do. Okay.
Okay.
So just to let you know, I'm horrible with names. So I know it's Elizabeth, Laura, and Everica?
Eva.
Say it again.
Eva, like evil Eva.
I'm guessing the CR is part of a
How do I say
E.G. Creel. I went with the initials for my author name.
Gotcha.
But you can call me Eva. You can call me E. You can call me whatever you want. It's fine.
Do not say that. 5 minutes.
Lady, you can call me Lady in the Pantry. Do I look picky? You can call me Mom. That's the name I respond to the most. And that's why I'm in the pantry with the door closed and with my snacks.
Now, does everyone have a drink? And you're all ready?
Go.
All right. Oh, I love that cup.
What's the name of your little man back there?
This is Orpheus.
Orpheus, very nice.
And he's the star, one of the stars. My daughter is the actress in my cinematics that I do. And yeah, he's a good actor back there. He's acting now like he's sleeping. He's not too happy with me. Okay, so we're gonna get started. Ready, everyone? Fluff your hair, let's do it. Hello, everyone. I am Opus Night, and you have entered Night Vision. Tonight, we have 3 ladies that have written books that are they're profound authors that are going to enlighten us, endear us, and just all around make us happy. We're going to have the most wonderful time. Now, Eva, get us started.
All right. My name is Eva Creel. My pen name is E.G. Creel. And I am the author of The Immortal.
Nice.
So, yeah, thank you. So, this is my very first novel. It's my debut. And I never actually aspired to write it. It just kind of happened. But I'll read the back to you if you like. Let me just... Okay. Emma just turned 40 and has finally decided to begin living her best life. She booked a vacation at a resort on a French Polynesian island, only to find herself on the dinner menu of an immortal Viking. If she keeps her wits and with a little luck, maybe she'll make it off the island alive. Spoiler alert, don't fall in love because the ending will rip your heart out.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, how long have you been writing?
This is the first time. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, this thing said power off. So I guess I started writing this book in August. No, I don't know. It was this year though, but I'm sorry. I'm my mom brain. It's 9 o'clock, ready to turn into a pumpkin, and I'm turning red. I can see myself turning red and all these questions I don't have any answers for. I just started writing, and I'm 39 years old, and maybe this is my midlife crisis. And I realize men and women have different midlife crises. Men get fancy sports cars, and women tend to get divorces and pick up swords. I'm not getting a divorce, right? Or write books and, do what they want in the books. And it's a way of expressing myself, I guess, that I didn't realize I needed to. And it was a lot of fun and it was a joy until the editing started. And then I regretted my decision immensely and decided maybe I don't want to be a writer after all. But
So, your character,
Mm.
is it male or female?
Emma is a female, protagonist,
Yeah.
and she's surrounded by a bunch of men, very attractive Vikings that are, terribly annoying and require murdering.
I love it.
It's a contemporary fantasy, so it takes place in modern day. And it started off as a bad dream, and I thought, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I thought, I'll just write a paragraph. I'll get it out of my system. And that paragraph turned into a page, turned into a chapter, turned into the immortal, the whole thing. It's right here, and then I thought, okay, I'm done. I'm never doing anything like this again, because this was a very big undertaking to do. But then I started writing again.
I think you caught the bug.
I think I did.
I think
it's come with a warning label.
It was definitely something was lurking back there, so that's wonderful. We love that. Laura, tell us about yourself.
I am 29 and I've been writing probably since high school, but not seriously until I moved to Japan. And then I found that once I no longer had roommates, I had a lot of free time on my hands after work. And so I started writing, and like Eva, my book, it's a trilogy that I wrote. Got this first one. This kind of came from a dream as well. And then it turned into this, and then it turned into this. So
very nice.
It just kind of got really huge on me, but I guess I should read the back of the first one. I was laughing when you read your blurb because my character's name is Emmeline, and she goes by Emmy. So it says, Emmy Leland is a perfectly abnormal 15-year-old girl struggling to find her place in an ordinary world full of extraordinary magic. When she returns to Ackley Institute, she quickly realizes it will be a school year unlike any other. With tensions running high across Andar, relationships between the regions and the students are quickly falling apart. A hidden danger lurks outside the safety of the school walls, and Emmy and her friends are determined to uncover the mystery. When Ackley is attacked, Emmy realizes they are closer to the truth than they knew. As the number of casualties grow, the country teeters on the brink of a civil war, and they make a decision that could change their lives forever. But will it be enough to save her friends and prevent war, or will the country be permanently changed by the unexpected magic?
Very nice.
So
very nice.
Yep, it was a dream, just like Eva's there, and got a whole trilogy now. I first completed trilogy.
Yep. That is beautiful. Elizabeth.
Hi.
Hi.
So my name's Elizabeth Morris. That's my real name and my author name. I didn't use a pen name. We can discuss that later. But this is my first book, Tiger's Blood. And this is my sequel to the Tiger's Blood, Rise of the Rebels. And I started writing Tiger's Blood when I was 13. I am how old am I? I'm 22 now. And I turned 23 in this month in December. So yeah, I'm gonna read the back of my book. So this is Tiger's Blood. In the world of Bai Totem, there are creatures called Bloods who are half animal, half human shapeshifters. The Lion Bloods are the most populated blood in the world, and they live under the protection of their king. One girl discovers her blood at an early age and goes on a quest to kill the king because of his past crimes against her blood. She meets 3 Bloods who help her along the way: a kind-hearted wolf blood, a clever eagle blood, and a rebellious lion blood. Will she succeed in murdering the king?
No.
So
Let's all hope so.
I know.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you have murderous intent, ladies.
Yeah. This also came to me in a dream. I guess we're all dreamers, but I dreamed of this is Kira, the main character. She's the white tiger blood.
Why isn't her name Emma though?
Why isn't her name Emma? Well, no, her name's Kira.
Middle name is Emma.
Yeah. Her name's Kira because I was at a circus one time, and there was a lion and tiger show, and the white tiger was named Kaya, Kya, and I just loved it, but I didn't want to use it, so I kind of did something similar, Kira, kind of close. So that's where her name came from.
Now, here's a funny little thing. That's my granddaughter's name. Kira.
Kaya or Kira?
Kira.
Oh, okay.
Kira. Yeah.
Kira. That's how I spell it.
And she's actually, I'll give you a little FYI here, little information. In Japanese, it means killer. And it's from an anime my son fell madly in love with. And her name is actually Nonali, Kira Nonali. Isn't that beautiful? I love her name. Absolutely love her name. So, ladies, back to the books. On your journey, each one of you, have you found that rating male characters has been easy, profound, or extremely excruciating? Anyone?
All right. So I just think men are mutated women. That you have XX and then you have X with an X that's a little broken off and it becomes a Y. So, I don't really think they're that different. Just basically when I wrote my male characters, I thought, what would my husband say? And it was just turn it sexual and make it more sarcastic.
And did he read it? Did he get the opportunity?
He did read it. He read it, and he has a couple of lines in there that he added as well while I was proofreading, and he enjoyed it very much, and he laughed. He belly laughed at some of it. Yes, he enjoyed it very much.
I love that. That's awesome. Laura?
I find that writing dialogue for guys is a lot easier than writing from a guy's point of view. Like when I wrote this first book, it's from her point of view, and then the next two, they switched to the guys on the cover. And that was my first time writing from a guy's point of view. And it was kind of hard for me, like at some points. And like my other series, I switched and I actually had my brother read both books from the guy's point of view. And I was like, please help me make sure it doesn't sound like this is still a girl. So he would be like, a guy's not going to think this. And I'm like, dang it.
Now, do you find that when I don't know if any of your books have any kind of sexuality regarding the characters or sexual thoughts, how do you weave those into a male character without it kind of gravitating towards the woman's point of view?
Honey, it's the woman's point of view. It's a first person for me, and it's all her point of view. And there is a sprinkling of smut in the immortal. And I Googled how did Vikings make love, and they weren't very good lovers. Google said they weren't very good lovers.
We love
so in my story, the scenes are rather short and disappointing.
Huh.
That's funny.
That's pretty
I stay
interesting.
far away from Steam. It makes me very uncomfortable to write. So I like have barely any kissing in mine, so I'm not the person to ask.
For me, it's a little different because so mine's first person point of view, but it switches points. So like I have multiple different points of views from different characters, including male characters. And for like one of my main characters, Ethan, he's the hardest to write for because I can never like understand his emotions. Like I don't understand like how or why he does what he does. He just does it. He's like kind of off the rail character for me. But I guess when it comes to intimacy in the books, I do have like a couple of like scenes where they are intimate, and I do it from the guy's perspective. It's kind of hard, I think, a little bit to just, I don't know, I have to ask my boyfriend a lot, like, does this really happen? Like, how does this happen? And usually I just kind of short and sweet, like Laura said, short and sweet.
Yeah, do any of you read romance novels or smut novels, as they used to be considered, which there's a complete different like distinction between the two. So I'm just curious, has any of you?
I read the last one I read, I think was 50 Shades of Grey. And I'll be honest with it, I was a bit bored with it. And Outlander too. This seems it seems like the same things kind of written over and over again. And the book would have, I guess it's a filler, but there were times where I just skipped whole pages. I thought, oh, this is happening again. Just kind of went over it. But Outlander, I think, does it very tastefully, and it's enjoyable, and you look forward to when James Fraser takes his shirt off for Claire.
Now, does it become tantalizing to you when you're writing it? Like, can you feel sensations, and do you the excitement of for the characters?
For the characters, okay, when the first smut scene I wrote, and it was very vanilla compared to what other people write, that's when I decided I can't use my first name. I had to do the E.G. Creole because I was so embarrassed. And I went into this woman's writing group and they said, oh, honey, you popped your smut cherry, so to speak, but you should read what we do, don't be ashamed of it. Don't be ashamed of it.
Oh, definitely. I have,
as I turn red.
My book, Salacious Manifesto, has some very provocative and shocking scenes to it that I've had a lot of response coming back. The feedback from beta readers and whatnot, and friends and family are just like, oh my God. And you got to own it. Like I every time I read there's certain sections of the book, I'm like, oh my God, I love this. I love that. So I think it's amazing when
my mom said if I wanted to sell a book to adults, there needs to be sex in it. And I said, all right, I'll put some sex in it. And then she said, I'm never going to read it.
Oh.
Oh. I kind of wrote a scene. I'm writing my third book right now in the series, and I wrote a scene where so they're shapeshifters. I wrote a scene where they were getting intimate as their animal forms, and it was just interesting. And I was like, I felt kind of like weird just writing it. But it came out pretty good. Like I came out like as tastefully as I could do. Like, I mean,
I think that's
go to the zoo.
Go to the zoo. Yeah, there's a lion and a tiger. Yeah.
A ligar? Do you get a ligar or a tigon? Baby.
That's a spoiler.
Okay.
We like spoilers. We definitely like
actually neither. So the bloods are based off of their personalities. So it's the personalities mashed together, and it creates a new new blood that has not existed yet.
Very interesting. I like
Yeah.
that. So when you're world building, how do you begin with a character? How do you decide what personality traits they're going to take on, what hair color, and how far do you dive into, you know, complexion and hair color, and how far do you dive into your characters? Or do you go more on the emotional basis, the psychological basis? Eve?
I started the book with a punch in the face because I thought if anything's going to get anyone's attention to read the rest of it, they needed to be in the middle of an action scene. And from there, the character she developed on her own, especially the male characters. One of my male characters, I had written his death scene after chapter 1, and it was very satisfying. And then I decided not to kill him because he evolved into something so beautiful that I decided to let him live. And for characters, I give a little hint at ethnicity, sometimes with how the slang is, with the dialogue, but I leave it very much open to interpretation so that anyone who reads it can feel that they are in the book and a character themselves.
Laura?
I'd say I do, like, I try and give a basic, like, eye color, hair color, stature kind of description at some point, like from other characters' points of views about them. But the personality, I feel like I don't create that. I feel like the characters are already there, you know, and then as you're writing, you're discovering their personality as you go. So all I really decide, I feel like, is the physical characteristics. So
I like it. Elizabeth?
So I'm gonna have to agree with Laura. I focus solely on the physical attributes first, and then I think like, what would this person do? Like, what would their personality? I think the personality like comes later, like as you're writing, rather than just, you know, plotting down everything about them. You kind of grow with them as you're writing.
Very nice. And what, as far as marketing, how have you found it easy to market your works, or have you found it more navigating towards what social media you want to use? Elizabeth?
So the social media I use the most, I guess, is Facebook. For marketing is kind of hard. Not everybody wants to hear about your book or anything like that. Not everybody wants to hear it, so not everyone's going to be interested. But I try to push it out to as many like people who want to read, people like writing groups, reading groups, everyone. I try to push out to as much as possible. Sorry, I'm recovering from a cold, but yeah, but marketing is probably the hardest part next to editing, I think.
Okay. Laura?
no, she's totally right. Marketing is the worst. Like, people say it's like marketing is just math and science and you just got to figure it out and do it. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I love math and science, but I'm terrible at marketing.
Yeah.
I'm still figuring it out. I used to think like, oh, if I just like release enough good books and then when people find one, they'll find like the other 10 or whatever, you know, it's like, that's all I really need. But I'm now 10 books in. I'm like, no, it's not that easy, Laura. You really have to figure out marketing. So I'm currently working on that.
Yeah, unfortunately, talent has nothing to do with selling.
Yeah.
Your book, you could have written the most amazing book in the world and it doesn't matter. It's marketing seems like if you have a problem, you need to throw money at it. And if you're an indie author, you don't have money to throw at the problem.
Now, how do you feel about indie authors? Do you feel, are any of you aspiring to go the traditional route? Now,
I
or
don't
in
think
the
I have the
future?
patience for it. I did have the opportunities with the editor of Coffee House Press, and she gave me 15 minutes of her time and said, you know, they have so many people, and they're a nonprofit. They work on trying to get books in libraries. And she said they have so many good stories that they have to say no to because the queue is so long. She said you can submit a manuscript and wait 5 years before that book becomes a reality. And I didn't have that kind of, maybe if I was continuing to write like Laura or Elizabeth and had, you know, a lot of other books that I knew I was going to write, 5 years wouldn't seem like a very long time. And then I would know by the end of that time, I would have 4 or 5 more books to add to it. But as a first-time author, not having a clue if anybody, you know, what, no comparison to if my book was going to be a good offering to any genre, I just went with self-publishing.
Gotcha. Okay. Elizabeth?
So as an indie author, I kind of like, I have thought of doing traditional publishing, but again, it's all about control. Like when you're an indie author, you get control of everything. You get control of your cover, you get control of, you know, where you sell it. But that's the biggest part for me, is I want to be in control of my own writing. So that's why I've never really like thought twice about, I mean, maybe if more books come along out of me, then I'll consider doing traditional publishing, but for now I'm just going to stick to self-publishing.
Okay. And Laura?
I thought about it, but I see, I guess, 2 things. One is I read that if they like buy your series and maybe the first book doesn't do so well, then they're not going to want to continue with the rest of the series. And then it's kind of like dead in the water and you can't really continue it on your own because they own the first one. So that scared me because I do a lot of series. And the other thing was I see a lot of successful indie authors in different writing groups I'm in making like tens of thousands of dollars a month from indie writing. And I'm like, if they can do it, I should be able to do it. And you get way more of their royalties as an indie author. And like they said, you have more control. So I feel like if I can just be patient and keep producing quality work, eventually you have to get there is what I'm hoping.
Definitely. See, I love every aspect of writing, and I think being an indie author is the most incredible Pandora's box that's ever opened, and I love it because you get to finally explore every avenue. And on that note, readers have asked me to ask my guest, when you are finished with your book, how do you celebrate? Elizabeth?
So I don't know how I celebrate. I get all excited. I might go out to dinner. I might have a drink or two. I don't really celebrate. I kind of get in this mindset when I finish and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And then everything just hits me like, okay, now I have to do editing, now I have to do this, now I have to do that. But then I do give myself time to like celebrate, like just go out to dinner, do something I like. I like to go on walks. I like to read sometimes. And if I'm not writing, I'm usually thinking about writing. So I'm always thinking about what's next. Okay, I'm done. Let's do the next one. So that's how I usually celebrate.
Gotcha. Eve?
So it's kind of like a roller coaster of emotions. You get so high and happy and excited that you created something. You feel like you're on top of the world. And then the next day, for me, it's like I have a happiness hangover and I have to pay the price for being so happy about what I've accomplished. And then I just feel so low and insecure, and all the regrets and negativity start coming in, and then I start climbing out of that hole again, and the process starts all over again. But when the books finally came and I opened them up and I looked at them, I got a confetti cannon and I blew up the confetti cannon and I just screamed and I cried, and that was how I celebrated.
Oh, I love that. Laura?
I'm pretty boring, actually. My parents and I, we eat crab every time I publish a book. That's kind of our go-to celebration is crab night. and then I generally take the weekend off, and then kind of like Elizabeth, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to start. Normally by the time I finish a book or a series, I'm like super burned out, and I'm like, I never want to read this book for the next decade. But then I'm super ready to start on the next thing. So I'm like, all right, jump into something new. So I like celebrate, I guess, by kind of plotting the next one, because when it's like that new, very giddy phase. It's like a new relationship, you know, and like you just start, you're like, I love everything about this story, and you're not burned out on editing or revising or anything. So I guess that's really lame, but I celebrate by doing more work.
Now, is there anything in writing your books, did there ever come a time where you just put it down and said, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm done with this. Or was it full, charge ahead?
Okay, so with the editing, I'm dyslexic. I didn't start reading until I was in 5th grade, and I had a D in English. And so when I knew I would need a professional editor, it wasn't something I could do myself. I self-edited as much as I could, and then I tried to contact professional editors, and they all rejected me. They all said I needed to self-edit more, that I would be wasting their time, and it would be too expensive for me. And that's just kind of, I thought right then and there, maybe I should just stop. But I was very fortunate to find an editor who said it doesn't look that bad. And maybe they were looking for bigger books, because my book isn't as long as a project they were looking for, but that's a maybe. But that's the point where I almost didn't do it. But I'm glad I did, because once I finished it, I actually sent one of my first copies to my 5th grade teacher, Mr. Davey, and he's the one who made me read The Hobbit in 5th grade. And he was such a cool guy, but I thought, what a mean thing to do. That's something that's above my skill set, to be able to read such a big book. But he showed me that, yes, I can read The Hobbit. And I showed him that, yes, I can write a book. And I Googled, again, dyslexic authors, and it turns out that Agatha Christie was dyslexic.
Wow.
And she sold 4 billion books. So how
No,
dare I limit?
we're very proud of you. I think that's awesome.
Thank
Good
you.
for you.
Thank you.
And we're definitely glad that you wrote the book. And we wish you much success.
It's good. You're going to enjoy it. I'll send you a copy. You're going to love it.
Oh, thanks, love. This is why I do this show.
Yeah. The free books.
I'm in it for the books. Laura.
I don't ever get to the point where I really seriously consider giving up, but I definitely get to the point where I feel really burned out. Like I mentioned, like I know when I first wrote this book, like I had already revised it so many times, and then I made the mistake / excellent decision of having my sister-in-law read it, and she's a high school English teacher, and she pointed out not like plot holes, but like kind of. It's not like the story was inconsistent, but she's like, she's really, anyway, she pointed out all these things, and I was like, how did I miss this? How did the last 20 betas miss this? Like, why is this a thing? And I was like, I was literally ready to publish, and she's like, nah, girl, you got so much work to do. And I was like, ready to cry. But the book was so much better when I finished revising. So I'm like really grateful that I did. But that was definitely one of those moments when I was like, please no.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Elizabeth?
So I don't think I've ever gotten to a point where I wanted to give up writing, like where I'm just like, I'm done, I can't do this anymore. But like Laura, I have gotten burnt out. And when I do get burnt out, I don't call that writer's block. I just take a break. Like that's not writer's block. But when I get burnt out, I normally just like I said, go on a walk, just listen to music, or just watch some TV, just look on something other than my book. And yeah, so I don't really get like I'm gonna quit writing. I've never really felt like that way before.
Okay. Now, how do all of you, how do you create ambiance in your books? Do you set the tone by your environment, your external environment as you're writing? Do you have to have the lights down low? Do you have to have certain elements in play? Or like you mentioned, music? you know, a lot of questions seem to be regarding different types of music. Like I listen to classical, that's just my thing. I listen to all range and, you know, different, my musical taste is very eclectic, but for some reason with classical music, it just, that's where the stories flow. So do you find that that's something that any of you have when creating ambiance within your characters' scenes? Elizabeth?
So yeah, I do use music a lot when I'm writing. I'll have it on my phone or on my laptop as I'm writing, and it's usually depending on the scene. Like if it's a more serious scene, I'll listen to like, I don't know, the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. Sometimes I'll listen to that, like the battle scenes, and just think of like something serious. Like it depends on what scene I'm trying to convey, and then like my music taste will kind of like adhere to that. There's one song by Alec Benjamin, Let Me Down Slowly, that makes me think of the death scene of one of my characters, and I really like, every time I hear it I think of like the whole scene of what's gonna happen when he dies. So
Laura?
I was like, yes, I love that you listen to Lord of the Rings. I do that too sometimes. But honestly, I don't really have any particular thing that I do. I actually do best when I'm doing my first drafts, and I just do straight writing sprints, and I'm just like writing like crazy for 20 minutes or whatever. But if I do have music on, it definitely needs to be something like without words. Like I do a lot of Studio Ghibli music. But yeah, I pretty much just write wherever and whenever I can, and ideally where there's no children around, because it's really hard to like get pulled in and out of the zone, you know? So when my nieces and nephews aren't here, I get a lot done.
Eva?
When children aren't
Or
around,
Eve?
that must be nice. No, that's Eva, you're right.
See, I'm trying to
That must
just
be
switch your
really
names
nice.
around.
I have two children that are not of school age, and so it is chaos. And maybe that reflects in my writing now that you mention it, because there's quite a lot of chaos. I don't get a quiet moment. Most of the time it's daydreaming about what I want to write, and then writing real quick until my arm is literally ripped away from the keyboard and I am dragged away because of some juice crisis or something. So but for one of my chapters, home is where the heart is, I listened to the Beatles because my character listened to the Beatles, so I did too.
Nice. And what character is that? Without giving it too much away.
Ivar the Boneless. And in history, there's a lot of ideas about why he's called the Boneless, but I came up with my own.
Nice. I love that. So, are any of you outliners, and when you're structuring your stories, do you follow the story and just run with it? Or are you someone who has to structure the details out at least a little bit, if not completely? Laura?
I'm 100% a plotter for like the main points of the book. Like I just finished outlining my next novel, and I talked to my sister-in-law that told me that I had so much work to do. I now use her before I start writing to save myself a big headache. And so she goes through my points for me and points out anything she's like, well, what about this? And how about this problem? And so I do that. But then I find that when I'm writing, sometimes it goes in directions I don't expect, but it always seems to get back on course for like the main points. But there'll be like, you know, these crazy paths that I'm like, I did not see that coming, which I think is fun. And it's like nice, because I feel like people that pants it, they're like, they feel like it's not as, I don't know, what's the word, like
Organized,
kind of, you know. And I'm like, no, it totally is, because you don't see all these things coming in the chapters. It's just nice knowing the beginning, middle, end for me.
Okay. Eva?
That would be very nice. It's skin of the teeth, chaos. no recipes, just putting stuff in a bowl and hoping it's edible. Yeah, but I would very much like to have some order.
Oh,
I just don't think I can have it right now.
that's, motherhood is one of those things that when your children are little, you wonder if you're ever going to survive it. And they kind of lead every direction, but once that they start getting older and they're growing, and I want to say about high school age, and then once they start doing the relationship things, and oh God, you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss it. I promise you, you're gonna miss it.
I take a
still
photo of
to this day-
them every day.
Oh,
And
Oh.
so I can look back on my memories and see how little they were.
and what a
and
pain in the
that's-
butt they were.
Oh yeah, I photograph when they break the eggs, smash them on the kitchen floor from
Oh,
the
please
refrigerator.
do.
I photograph all
Please do.
when they throw up in my hair and I'm holding them, and I take all those pictures too.
Are the perfect guilt masters. Trust me. When they're little, when they get older, not so much. Not so much. Trust me. My
All
son
right.
is 31 years old, and let me tell you, to this day, I'll turn around and open a photo book and turn around and go, "Do you remember this? Because I remember this."
Let's play a
Mom, you got a
game.
picture for
Is it
everything."
poop or is it chocolate?
I'm like, "You owe me, boy."
Oh no.
So it is, once you survive it, it's oh my God, it's amazing. It's truly amazing to reflect and look back and think. And now I have a granddaughter that's 10 years old, and it's like it's incredible to watch her, especially when she does things to tick them off. When she pisses them off, Grandma's over here like this because I'm dying laughing. And I'm like, you have no idea where she's going with this, but I already see this train coming. So, Laura, what advice would you give new authors that you learned along your journey?
I will totally answer that, but I don't know if Elizabeth said if she was a plotter or a pantser.
I think you're correct. Elizabeth?
Okay. I'm for sure a plotter. I put down I have a document. I have main plot points for my third book, and each chapter gets their own like little blurb on what's gonna happen. And I'm for sure a plotter. And like I usually follow it to a T. If not, I kind of go astray sometimes. I'm like, that's not really how I want it, so I kind of do this way or this way, but I usually follow it to a T.
I think that's awesome. And Laura, thank you. We got, once you start talking about children,
Everything's out the way. All bets are off.
they call me Gigi, and oh my God, it's hilarious. I know the drama. Now, Eva, same question. That actually, Laura,
Laura, yeah.
Laura,
you go first. I don't even remember the
it's all
question.
over.
Well,
What's the havoc we're
Laura?
creating?
Tried to throw you off there. You got me.
Eva, your children are creating drama within our video. Tell them I love them.
Would you like some tomatoes? I mean, I'm not joking. How about a bouillon cube?
What are their names, actually? We're giving them a shout out because good for them.
Theodore and Dylan.
Aw.
I
Tell
call
them
Theodore Teddy.
Opus thanks them.
I will.
Okay, Laura.
Wait, so sorry, what was the question about giving advice?
Giving advice on new
Like to
authors.
new writers?
New writers, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'd say the biggest, most important thing that you should learn as a new author is to not be afraid to share your work, because like there's probably a 1% chance that people are going to steal it, which is what you always see people posting about, like, how do I know it's safe? But mostly it's also that people are scared to get their first feedback and criticism and things like that. But I think learning how to have a tough skin and just like see the feedback for like what it can do for your novel, not what it's like not view it as tearing you down, but like seeing how it could help build your work up into something way cooler than you could have done on your own is really important. And to do that, you have to be willing to share with other people. And I think a lot of it too is like be willing to beta read for other people, like have beta readers and be a beta reader, because you just learn so much.
Oh, I love it. That is great advice.
Thanks.
Eva?
It takes a lot longer than you think it's going to take. I thought I was going to write a book and put it on KDP and push publish, and there you go. I didn't know what a beta reader was. I didn't know that there were things called format artists. I didn't know that the Library of Congress copyrighted books. So if you're worried about somebody stealing your work, $65 online copyrighted. There you go. And I would also say, if you're scared that somebody's not going to like it, I guarantee you somebody is not going to like it. Now that you know that, what are you going to do about it? You're going to do it anyway. Because every year somebody sells 1 million chocolate chip mint cookies. And I hate them. I absolutely despise them. I can't read Stephen King. Do you think Stephen King cares that I can't read his books? You think the cookie companies care that I think it's like eating toothpaste while eating a cookie? Put that away. As long as you like it, you've got it. You've got to believe in your own product.
Exactly. Elizabeth?
So something that I wish I'd known when I started writing, keep writing. Because there was a period of time in my life where I wanted not to give up writing, but just to give up in general. And writing is like, for me at least, is just comforting, and it's like my favorite. I wouldn't say hobby, because like if you call it a hobby, then you can't get paid. But like writing, just if you're gonna start writing, finish it. You should finish it. That's the biggest advice I should give myself, honestly, when I was younger, because I never wanted to finish my book because there were so many people doubting me. And I'm like, no, I need to finish it. And it took me 4 years to write, but I did it. So
And good for you.
yeah.
Good for all of you. Ladies, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so grateful that you could join us tonight. And I know that through the emails that I get all the time, readers have a million questions, and there are those that the most important part is, how do you gain the confidence to actually put it out there? Your babies, as Stephen King would say. How do you let them go? Eva, how do you let them go?
When they give you enough fuss and enough heartache, you're going to be screaming out the door, somebody take my babies. Take it, please. You can have one. You can have one. You can have one. You can have them all. That's the point, isn't it? We want to sell them.
Yeah.
Definitely. Laura?
That sounds so messed up. We want to sell our babies.
Sell our babies.
I'd say for me, probably what gave me the confidence to keep going at it is when I got my first feedback from like someone who loved the book, and I was like, whoa, this could like bring you joy and not just me joy. I'm like, that's awesome. And after that, I fell in love with writing. Like, I mean, I loved it before, but when like I'm on cloud 9 every time I read a great review, and I'm like, I love this so much. And I like write it in my journal, and I like made my whole family read it. And I'm like, everybody be happy with me. That's the best.
That's awesome. Elizabeth?
So like I said, this is my first baby, and what I do normally, I when I get the confidence, I usually just go with it, and I'm like, I'm gonna do this. This is something I want to do, and I just go with it. But what really gave me the confidence was when I first got my first editor. She was actually a professor of a friend she was a professor of a friend of mine, and she said she wanted to edit my book, and we would meet every like month or so and work on my book and editing, and it was just great. It just gave me like such a morale boost, and I just really I enjoyed her company, and we got along well. She was really the first person to read my writing, and she loved it. And she's a college professor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just felt amazing, and
Well,
I
give
really
her a
have
shout
to
out.
thank her for my first book. I have a different editor under my second book, but I really have to thank her for my first book, because without it, it wouldn't have been published. Without
And
her.
what is her name?
Her name is Ashley. I forget her last name. She got married, so I forget her last name. But her first name's Ashley.
Well, Ashley, we are so grateful. Thank you so much. Now, how can readers reach you? Laura?
Amazon, Goodreads. Oh, I should throw this out there as my disclaimer. I am Laura M. Drake. Please don't forget the M, because there's a Laura Drake out there that probably gets a lot of publicity from all of my disclaimers that writes cowboy romance books with shirtless cowboys on the front. It's very clearly not my style. Yeah, Amazon, Goodreads, Facebook, really all the normal platforms. I have a website, but it's like one of those Wix site ones, which is kind of the awkward thing. So probably Goodreads is a great way to do it.
All right. Elizabeth?
So same here. You can find me on Facebook at Elizabeth Morris, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all at Liz Loves to Write. And I have I don't have a website. I don't have anything to pull. I don't have a website. Yeah, I'm still working on that. But yeah, mostly I'm all over social media. Liz Loves to Write or Elizabeth Morris.
Okay.
I'm looking
Yeah.
you up on TikTok right now. I just started TikTok.
No.
I don't really know what I'm doing. Okay, I'm gonna just remind me, because it's too complicated to do right now.
It's Liz Loves
But
to Write,
yes.
all one word, lowercase, no numbers or
Okay.
anything. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try my hardest to find it, and if you don't find a new follower, then please find me.
Okay.
Please, same to you. Are you on TikTok as well, Laura?
I am not. I'm very overwhelmed by the plethora of social media sites, so I'm just sticking to Goodreads and Facebook at the moment, essentially.
Well, TikTok's
I
good
heard about
because there's
something
like
called
author talk.
hashtag.
I guess I do
You're
Instagram
right.
with the
Oh,
Author
hashtag.
talk
author
and
talk.
book
Oh,
talk.
that's a good one.
Author talk and book talk
Yes.
are huge on there. There's so many like not popular, but like so many people I've never heard of that are blowing up on TikTok. Like it's kind of crazy.
Huh.
Laura, go get discovered.
Yeah.
TikTok.
This is your time. Hashtag Laura M.
Hashtag M. Don't forget the M. What about you, Eva?
Oh yeah, same. Facebook, Goodreads. On Instagram, I'm actually Eva Creel Photography, because I've been a photographer a lot longer than being a writer. So I just started a new page on Facebook. Same thing, some free Wix thing that I can't be bothered to buy my website name. But if you ask the Google for e.g.creel, put a space in between the dots. I didn't even know that when writing. I didn't know that you had to put in, after the abbreviation, you had to put like a little dot on it. But you learn something new every day. And before we go, do you think we could all sing Elizabeth happy birthday?
Oh, definitely.
My birthday's not until Christmas Eve.
So's my daughter-in-law. So
Is it really Christmas Eve?
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
It's a-
beautiful.
All right.
Take it.
You ready?
Take it. Ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Happy birthday
to you.
Oh no.
Happy birthday
Happy
to
birthday.
you.
You.
Happy
Happy birthday.
birthday, dear
dear Elizabeth.
Very good idea on Zoom.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to you.
Thank you so much. that was awesome.
Aw. Ladies, I've had a ball, and I thank you so much for joining us. And readers and watchers, we thank you so much for your time and consideration. And I hope that you look each one of these ladies up, and I know you're going to have a wonderful read. Thank you all.
Thanks
Have
for
a
tonight.
good
Thank
night.
you so much.
You're very welcome. Join us anytime. Bye-bye,
Bye,
y'all.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Night snack? Want some potatoes?